Welcome everyone to the semi-finals encounter between Wei Yi and Andrey Esipenko at the FIDE World Cup 2025. It's going to be a fascinating clash between two players who have done incredibly well in this World Cup. Esipenko knocking out none other than Vincent Keimer, the highest rated player in this tournament, and Wei Yi getting the better of Arjun Erigaisi in the previous round, which was quite a big result. And now they will fight it out against each other. Wei Yi has the white pieces, Andrey has black, and we have the guests joining in to make the first move.
Welcome to the 7th round of the FIDE World Cup 2025.
Can I choose the move?
I think the first move is being made by the owners of the Rio resort here. The resort's Rio, which is look at the smile on the face of Andrey when he plays knight c3 and d6. He's like, okay, that's not a bad idea.
Thank you.
And players take back their pieces. And this is always a very nice thing in chess about the first move that is going to be made, and we are ready. A handshake by the players and off we go. Wei Yi thinks for his first move and opens with pawn to e4, and Andrey could play e5. Generally that's the opening that they choose, but he goes e6. He's trying to play fighting chess here. He wants to score that full point, yeah, with black pieces. Maybe d4. These days I feel like black is not something that you just need to equalize, because the ambition of the white players has grown. They take more risks, and so black naturally gets chances. Knight to c3. Where he plays the same opening that he played with Arjun Erigaisi with knight to c3, and Arjun had played knight to f6 here. But Andrey takes on e4, knight takes on e4 here, and now knight f6 is a move. He goes knight d7. He's preparing knight f6 so that if you take, he'll take back with the knight. And as Andrey gets up from the board, Wei now brings his knight out to f3. He takes a good 10 minutes. I think this is one of the things that you see with Wei often, is that he doesn't rush during the opening phase. He takes his time. He often is seen below like 30 minutes as compared to his opponent and so on. So knight g f6, and now knight takes on f6, check. He takes back, knight takes f6. And bishop to d3, just finishing his development here. Black pushes his pawn to c5 right into the heart of the position, and now bishop to e3, just defending the pawn. Andrey brings his queen to c7. He's very quick to develop his pieces. And I like this move, queen e2 by Wei Yi. He stops the move c4. He's preparing long castling. Short castling also remains an option. a6 played here by Esipenko. And Wei Yi, what's his move going to be? Well, he pushes h4. He's going in. He's going in for the attack. And when Wei Yi attacks, we all know how dangerous it can get. Andrey now has to think. This is the first moment where he's out of his prep, while Wei Yi is down to 1 hour 5 minutes. But Andrey very quickly plays his move, knight to d5. Well, one of the ideas could very well be to take on e3, but I'm not so sure. After fe3, whom does that structure favor? And look at Wei Yi. He's going for the long castle. He's going for the most aggressive setup there. Wow. Both the players have come in very, very huge fighting mood, it seems, to the game. The bishop comes out to d7. And now Andrey gets up and he's thinking about what to do. King comes to b1. He puts his king on b1. And now takes his time and plays knight takes e3. The knight takes the bishop here. And he responds back with f takes on e3. So he's captured towards the center. f6 played, and this is an amazing move by Andrey Esipenko. You can see that the pawn on f6 is 2 squares away from the knight here, and so it makes a lot of sense to dominate the knight. And look at this move by Wei Yi. He tries to open up the king side. I think it makes sense for Andrey to go long castle because short castle would be too dangerous. He's thinking for a bit and he's ready with his king move. Yes, long castle is on the board. And now you go g5. He pushes his pawn forward. He's attacking this structure here on g7 and f6. King comes to b8. And Wei Yi is bringing his rook to f1. So while white is expanding and making progress, black has the bishop pair here. And look at this next move, bishop c8. I love it. Because see, if you play f5, my knight jumps in. I can't attack it because of knight f7. So by playing bishop c8, I'm actually preparing f5. G takes f6 by Wei Yi. He takes the pawn. They keep an eye on the clocks, by the way. In 37 minutes for Wei Yi, 58 for Andrey. G takes on f6. And now pawn to c3. So he bolsters the center here, planning to push pawn to e4. He goes rook to g8, opening up the possibilities for the rook. And now Wei Yi thinks for a bit and brings his knight back to d2. So he brings his knight here, attacks the pawn on f6, and the knight is going towards b3. And he pushes his pawn to f5. It's a good move. e4 is not possible because there's pressure on d4. So Wei Yi goes knight to b3, further strengthening his d4 square, preparing e4. Rook comes in to g4. Now eyeing here and here. And he pushes his pawn to h5. So the pawn moves forward. And Wei Yi has to be careful here. Black is going after white's weak pawns. Rook h4. I like this move actually. He's eyeing the h5 pawn. Maybe at some point the queen could swing over and attack this. But there were other moves. Like for example, you could take on d4, which is a weird move, but it is possible. Rook can go to g5 as well. He's played rook to h5. And now knight takes c5 taken by Wei Yi. And yeah, this I'm not so sure because bishop takes c5. D takes c5 and now queen takes on c5. Wei Yi is in some trouble, yeah, for sure, because after queen takes on c5, The pawn on e3 is hanging, and also the pawn on h5. Both are under big pressure. You go rook to f4, and maybe you don't want to trade now. Takes helps white. e6 becomes more weak, so Andrey can go rook h3, I believe, just to attack the e3 point. Yeah, that's what he does. Rook h3 is on the board, and now rook to d4, offering a trade. If you take, e takes d4, so that's why rook g8, taking the open file, makes a lot of sense. And Andrey does it. He plays rook to g8. 32 minutes for Andrey, 12 minutes for Wei Yi. Wei Yi is taking quite a bit of time and now breaks in with e4. And one of the things that black can do is push pawn to f4, but Andrey goes straight in. He goes fe4, and his idea is to win the pawn on h5. What is Wei Yi's compensation going to be is the big question here. And he can take with the bishop, he can take with the queen, taking with the rook also possible. But in all these lines, you have to calculate what happens to queen h5. Like, what is the plan there? What's going on? He takes, queen takes on h5. And now what's the idea? Because your rook is also hanging here. It's mate in 1 actually. Wei Yi kind of zones in here and takes the pawn on a6. What a move. Because if ba6, you have rook b4 check, and after king a7, you have this insane move, rook d7, and it's a checkmate. So bishop a6 comes as a bolt from the blue. But I think Andrey, not for Andrey, he's, I guess, prepared here. You can trade queens with queen f5, I believe, here. But he goes e5. And with this, he attacks the rook. He's attacking the bishop. He's ready to trade queens. Maybe bishop f5 to win the queen. Rook d8, only move to pin the bishop. Otherwise, you would lose the queen. So rook d8, fantastic chess. Now Andrey has to calculate. He takes, rook takes, and one can see like b takes a6, queen b4 check is a perpetual. Like king c7, queen e7 is coming in. But king a7 played. I mean, check, the white king would run away with king c2, king b3. So king a7. And now the only move for white here, for Wei Yi, is queen a4. He finds it. It's a beautiful move. Because now I'm threatening bishop back and to give you a check. And so Andrey, and also by the way, check on d1 is stopped. B takes a6. And now the only move is rook d7, check. Very cool. Check by Wei Yi. And Andrey has to kind of take the rook. If he plays bishop b7, there is rook takes b7, king takes b7, and also perpetual. So bishop d7, queen takes on d7. If you go king a8, there is check. If you go king b8, there is check. Both of black pieces can't do much there. King b6, and they agree to a draw. The draw can be made by queen d6, king b5 here, and then queen d5 check. You cannot go to a4, that would be just over after queen b3 and queen b4, so you have to go back, and the perpetual checks continue. So a great game here, I must say. Andrey Esipenko kind of pushed beautifully in the game, while Wei Yi found some incredible resources at the end of the game, and I love how they are discussing the game so nicely with each other.